Alright, so here's how I justify this movie's existence, and I'm gonna do it with a little history lesson. It's gonna seem odd at first, but just bear with me on this. So, back in 1988, we got the movie Beetlejuice. And the year after that, we got an animated series based off said movie. It was one of those, Saturday morning cartoon type shows. And it kind of fudged the lore, it changed the facts from the movie. Some characters who were not friends in the movie were best friends in the series. It was just trying to appease kids. So that's how I see this movie. In the Toy Story universe, there was this movie Lightyear, and then after that came out, there was a spin-off animated TV series called Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. That was the 2D cartoon that we got back in 2000. That kind of fudges with the lore from the movie, invents new characters. So that's how I can justify this movie in my mind's eye. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about this movie. Lightyear. So Lightyear is the newest movie from Pixar. It's the first Pixar movie to hit theaters in a few years. So that's awesome. And it's kinda sorta part of the Toy Story franchise. They're saying that the Buzz Lightyear toy that Andy got for his birthday all those years ago is from a movie that Andy saw. It was like his favorite movie. So this is that movie. And it's a sci-fi adventure. Buzz Lightyear is a space ranger. We got spaceships and aliens, and Zurg is in the movie. And here we are. Now, I was excited for this movie. 1, I'm a huge Toy Story fan. 2, I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I just love Buzz Lightyear. He's such an icon. And so, how is this movie? It's pretty good. It's got a couple of problems, but I still enjoyed it overall, definitely. The character of Buzz Lightyear himself, he's actually voiced not by Tim Allen, but Chris Evans, who I thought did a great job. Because, you got the voice of Captain America. We now associate that voice with, the voice of heroism. And so when Buzz Lightyear is acting all heroic, we defend the galaxy from the threat of invasion. You totally buy it. I thought his voice totally fit. Keke Palmer is in this movie. She voices Izzy Hawthorne. She's a pretty important character here, and I liked her too. She has her own story arc about overcoming fears. I thought that was pretty well done. Movie stealer, though, I'm sure you've heard this by now, but Socks the robotic cat. And at first glance, I was like, oh god, yet another sci-fi adventure with a little cute character that was made specifically to sell toys to the masses, which is kind of ironic when you think about it. But he's like the next Baby Groot or Grogu. And yeah, you know what? Socks is that in this movie, but I'm not gonna deny that he did totally steal it. I fell into his lines. He's so likable, and he has some of the funniest moments in the film. I can't hate this character. He's great. He's hilarious. I was laughing out loud quite a few times at Socks. In fact, I even walked out of the movie going, I wish we could have had more scenes with him. And I have got to talk about Zurg. No spoilers here, but my god do I love this design. Zurg in this movie is this giant robot that is so evil and menacing. He's always in the shadows, and his eyes are glowing. It's so sinister looking. I love it. And he is on a mission. He is after Buzz Lightyear. I really do like what they did with Zurg in this movie, because I thought it was pretty cool. Now, as for the movie itself, like I said, it's an overall good time. It's a fun sci-fi adventure. It's not really groundbreaking. There's nothing really special about it that blew all my hair back. I do want to give props to the overall emotional story of it, though. The morals that this movie teaches, again, I'm not going to tell you, but that did actually surprise me a little bit. I was like, wow, okay, that's a really great message. It's one that I actually really connect with on a personal level. And so that, to me, was the best part of the movie. I loved it. However, the pacing of said movie and message could have been a little better. This movie does what I felt Luca did, was that it kind of rushes through the dramatic moments. Because there are some really good, emotional scenes in the movie, but quite a few times they were quickly over. They didn't give enough time for the drama to really sink in. Instead, the movie just decides to go through the motions, and it just made it feel a bit rushed. And honestly, that is starting to irritate me. Don't do that. I want to feel the drama. That's what makes a movie really stick with you. But, the plot and the emotional message as a whole, it's pretty good. Also, of course, if you're a Toy Story fan, there will be references in the dialogue or even some of the movements where you're like, okay, that's from one of the other Toy Story movies. I love that because that's what I was doing. There's a part where he gets out of the ship and he's like, Buzz Lightyear to Star Command, come in Star Command. Why don't they answer? I was like, oh yeah, that's from Toy Story 1. Fun stuff like that. One of my biggest things about this movie, though, is that you gotta leave logic at the door. So many times throughout this movie, I was like, okay, that wouldn't happen like that. That's impossible. Come on, that's not realistic. I mean, I get that this is a sci-fi movie set in space, so it's not entirely going for what Christopher Nolan says is realism. But just logically, I was thinking, alright, this place should have more security. Just saying. I mean, this is Star Command, right? Aren't they supposed to be like NASA or something? My biggest problem with the movie is one of the characters, cause Buzz Lightyear eventually runs across this crew of misfits, and one of these misfits is voiced by Taika Waititi. This guy, he just annoyed me. Cause he's the bumbling idiot type, which, alright, I do call BS there because aren't you supposed to be an astronaut? Astronauts really are not allowed to make mistakes. When it comes to space missions like this, like, nothing can go wrong. Everything has to be perfectly precise, and I feel like this guy would not have made it through basic training. Just everything about this character annoyed me and confused me, and it would have been better if he were not in the movie. Or at least if he were smarter or something. The musical score in this film was composed by Michael Giacchino, yup, ever still the busy bee, and it was a pretty good score. There was a good fanfare theme in there that repeated itself enough times throughout the movie to make itself memorable. I commend that actually. This is the first like Toy Story-ish movie to not be scored by Randy Newman, and the music wasn't bad. Props to Giacchino. So in the end, I know it may sound like I bagged more on this movie than I probably should have. I had a really good time with it. All the complaints I listed, they really are... I'm not gonna say nitpicks because they were some problems I had with the movie, but compared to everything else that's great about it, the emotional story, the plot, the animation, of course, is beautiful. Some really cool looking stuff in this movie. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing it again. For Lightyear, I will say, go see this movie while it's in theaters. Now, what I want to see from Pixar, I don't know if they're going to do this, but I want to see a Sheriff Woody movie now in the same vein as this. I want to see like that classic Western, you know, the franchise that Woody is from. You can have the Roundup Gang. I definitely love to see that. Maybe someday. So Lightyear, have you seen it yet? What do you think about it? And what's your favorite sci-fi space movie that's not Star Wars or Star Trek or Guardians of the Galaxy? You know, one that's lesser known. What's a good one? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace.